Hello, Chuckle Nuts. Today we will be going over all of the Radiohead albums in order, and we're going to teach you about real music, you dummy. All right, first of all, we have Pablo Honey. Who gives a crap about Pablo Honey? This is probably their weakest album by date and had nothing to the music scene at that time. The album was released in 1993 and had their biggest song ever, Creep, which is a pretty okay track, but overall this album is considered their weakest or worst album by fans in their discography. The band members themselves don't like this album very much, especially Creep, 5 out of 10. Okay, so now we have the bands. This album is a straight-up rented sound and made them respected by music fans at the time. The album came out years later in 1995 and had songs such as High and Dry, Fake, Plastic Trees, and Just. This album is really good. 8 out of 10. Alright, Chuckle Nuts, now we have OK Computer. This album is considered by many not just Radiohead's best album, but the best album of all time. This album was really unique at the time and was made Radiohead a respected band in the music scene, and this album basically made them gods in rock and roll. 10 out of 10. Alright, dummies, now we have Kiddo, which was released in the year 2000 and was basically complete 180 in their sound. They shifted towards more electronic and experimental music, as we could hear from the opening track, Everything in Its Right Place. This album is considered by many fans of the band their best work to date, and the album made Radiohead a unique and special band in the music scene. 10 out of 10. Alright, you idiots. Now we have Amnesiac, which was released in the year 2001. I don't really understand the hype for this album, as it is really just leftover songs from Kiddo sessions. Songs like Knives Out and Junior's Army are pretty good in my opinion, but songs like Popper Revolving Doors and Hunting Bears are just mid-and-bad tracks that have no value to the experience of the album. 7 out of 10. Alright, now we have Hell to the Thief, which was released in 2003. This album has one of the best openings to the Radiohead album so far with a +2 equals 5. And I haven't really went to school that much, but I can tell you that a +2 actually equals 4 and not 5, so this album is admittedly mid out of 10. Okay, you nerds. Now we have In Rainbows, which was released in 2007. This album is personally my favorite record by them. All of the songs on this thing are over an 8 out of 10 in my opinion because of songs like Body Snatchers, New and Fishes, Reckoning, Jigsaw Falling into Place, and many more. This album is just 10 songs long, but that amount of songs is perfect for an album like this. This album has everything that you could ever ask for, in my opinion. 11 out of 10. Alright, Chuckle Nuts. Now we have The King of Limbs, which was released in 2011. This album is their weakest album since Pablo Honey, but still has some pretty good tracks on it. Songs like Separator and Lotus Flower are really good and catchy. They experimented more with loops and their overall sound for this record. Many say that this is their worst, but I personally like some of the songs on this thing. It's not bad. It's only 8 songs long and feels too short, but understandable because of the quality. 6 out of 10. Alright, you idiots. Now we have Moonshape, which was released in 2016. This album is probably the saddest album to date, with songs like Daydreaming and True Love Awaits. Many fans of the band really like this album, and the band basically came back into their own sound again. My favorite track off this thing is probably Full Stop. This album is their latest album, and I hope that they make another record soon. 8 out of 10. Alright, Chuckle Nuts, this has been the Scout from Team Fortress 2. I hope you have a great day, and remember to eat vegetables, dummies. Alright, see ya!